Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the superpower we all need in the 21st century. It's the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and reason with emotions, both our own and those of the people around us. And research shows it's a better predictor of success than traditional measures like IQ. So, how to be emotionally intelligent isn't some mystical gift you're either born with or not. It's a skill backed by psychology and neuroscience that you can actually develop. And honestly, most of us are walking around emotionally illiterate, wondering why our relationships feel like minefields and why we can't seem to get out of our own way. In this video, we'll explore 11 proven principles from clinical psychology, Stoic philosophy, and cutting-edge neuroscience that can help you nurture unshakable emotional intelligence. Whether you struggle with anxiety, toxic relationships, or just feeling stuck in life, these time-tested strategies can transform the way you think, feel, and show up. Before we start, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell as your little way of encouraging us and letting YouTube know that you're finding value in this video. All right, let's begin with something that might sting a little. That's number 1. Understand the difference between emotions and feelings. Let's set the ball rolling with what nobody tells you about how to be emotionally intelligent. Many of us use the words emotions and feelings interchangeably, but they're actually quite different. Emotions are physiological responses that happen automatically in the body, things like fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Feelings, on the other hand, are the subjective experience and interpretation of those emotions. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. In other words, we can't control the emotions that arise within us, but we can control how we interpret and respond to them. This is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Number 2. Practice self-awareness through mindfulness. One of the core pillars of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, which is the ability to tune into our inner experience and observe our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations with clarity and compassion. And research shows that mindfulness meditation is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating this skill. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to simply witness our emotions arise and pass, without getting caught up in them or reacting impulsively. Over time, this develops our capacity for emotional regulation and helps us respond to life's challenges with more wisdom and grace. As the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh once says, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." Number 3. Develop the pause, your secret weapon between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, discovered something profound. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The reality is this: the space he is talking about, most of us have never even noticed it exists. You know that moment when someone criticizes you and your mouth opens before your brain catches up? That's what happens when you skip the pause. Research in neuroscience shows that our amygdala, the brain's alarm system, can hijack our prefrontal cortex in milliseconds. Put simply, this means that your emotional brain can override your thinking brain faster than you can blink. Here's the application. Start practicing the 3-second rule. When something triggers you, count to 3 before responding. Literally, 3 seconds give your prefrontal cortex time to come back online. For example, imagine you're in a meeting and someone takes credit for your idea. Without the pause, you might publicly call them out and create drama. But with the pause technique, you might address it privately and professionally later. Same situation, but radically different outcome. The emotionally intelligent aren't less emotional, they're just better at creating that sacred pause. Before we continue, count yourself as an exception for making it this far. Most people won't do the work of building emotional intelligence because it requires looking at uncomfortable truths. But you're still here.
That tells me something about you.
Number 4, practice emotional regulation, not emotional suppression. There's a massive difference between regulating your emotions and stuffing them in a box until they explode. Neuroscience research by Matthew Lieberman shows that when you label an emotion by actually naming it, you reduce activity in the amygdala and increase activity in the prefrontal cortex. This one insight separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You're literally calming your nervous system just by identifying what you're feeling. Emotional regulation looks like this. You're furious at your partner. Instead of either exploding or pretending you're fine, you say, "I'm really angry right now, and I need 20 minutes before we talk about this." You're acknowledging the emotion, taking responsibility for it, and managing your response. On the other hand, suppression is when you say, "I'm fine," while your jaw is clenched and your body is screaming. The emotionally intelligent feel everything, yet they just don't let everything control them. They use techniques like deep breathing, going for a walk, journaling, or talking to a trusted friend. They create space for the emotion without becoming the emotion. But the secret you're about to hear explains it all. When you actually allow yourself to feel difficult emotions instead of fighting them, they move through you faster. Resistance is what keeps them stuck. Number 5, embrace the power of reframing. One of the most transformative tools in the emotional intelligence toolkit is the practice of reframing. Reframing involves consciously shifting the way we perceive and interpret a situation in order to change our emotional response to it. This is a great strategy to be emotionally intelligent. For example, let's say you just got passed over for a big promotion at work. Your initial reaction might be one of disappointment, anger, or even shame. But what if you could reframe that situation? You might say to yourself, "This is an opportunity for me to get feedback and focus on my areas of growth," or "This frees me up to explore other exciting possibilities." By consciously reframing challenging situations in a more positive, constructive light, we can short-circuit the automatic negative thought patterns that often lead to painful emotions. Over time, this practice can help us become more resilient, adaptable, and able to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease.
Number 6, learn to name your emotions with precision. Most people's emotional vocabulary consists of 5 words: happy, sad, angry, stressed, and fine. That's like trying to paint a sunset with only 2 colors. Research by psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett proves that emotional granularity, which is the ability to construct precise emotional experiences, literally changes how your brain processes feelings. This means that when you can distinguish between feeling anxious versus overwhelmed versus restless, you're not just playing word games, you're actually regulating your nervous system. Here's why these matters. Vague emotions create vague solutions. For instance, "I feel bad" doesn't tell you what to do next, but "I feel dismissed and undervalued" points you toward a specific conversation you need to have. If you want to be emotionally intelligent, you have to start expanding your emotional vocabulary. Are you angry, or are you frustrated, resentful, betrayed, or indignant? Are you sad, or are you disappointed, lonely, grief-stricken, or melancholic? Think about it. When you tell someone, "I'm fine," but you're actually feeling invisible and exhausted, you've just created an impossible situation. They can't meet a need you won't name. The emotionally intelligent can articulate their inner world with precision, and that precision is power. Number 7, stop treating emotions as problems to solve. Here's where Western culture has completely messed us up. We treat emotions like software bugs that need fixing. For instance, if you're sad, you're asked to take something, and if you're anxious, they advise you to meditate it away. And what if you're angry? You are told to suppress it. As Pema Chodron teaches, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage to look at ourselves honestly and gently.
Emotional intelligence has less to do with eliminating emotions and more to do with having the wisdom to understand what they're trying to tell you. Sometimes anxiety has nothing to do with having an anxiety disorder and everything to do with ignoring your intuition about a situation that's genuinely wrong for you. Your emotions are data, information. Sometimes they're messengers warning you about danger, and sometimes they're highlighting unmet needs. And other times they're just processing residual stress from your nervous system. When you feel jealous, don't just shame yourself out of it. Ask what need isn't being met. When you feel anxious, don't automatically label it as irrational. Maybe your subconscious mind picked up on something your conscious mind missed. The goal isn't to have fewer emotions, it's to have a better relationship with the ones you have.
8. Cultivate self-acceptance through the Stoic practice of amor fati. One of the biggest barriers to emotional intelligence is our tendency to judge and criticize ourselves. We all have parts of ourselves that we're ashamed of or wish we could change. But as the Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. This is where the Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate, can be a game changer. Amor fati is the practice of radically accepting ourselves and our circumstances exactly as they are, without resistance or judgment. It's about embracing the full range of our human experience, the light and the dark, the successes and the failures, as essential to our growth and evolution. When we can cultivate this kind of unconditional self-acceptance, we free ourselves from the prison of shame and self-criticism. We become more resilient, adaptable, and able to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. 9. Master the art of empathic listening. You can't learn how to be emotionally intelligent without being prepared to be an empathic listener. Ironically, most people don't listen, they reload. While you're talking, they're preparing their rebuttal, their story, their advice. They're waiting for their turn, not actually hearing yours. Carl Rogers, the founder of person-centered therapy, emphasized unconditional positive regard, the practice of accepting others without judgment. It means that real listening doesn't always mean agreeing to or fixing something. It can point to understanding. Empathic listening actually takes place when you're not formulating your response. You're also not comparing their experience to yours, or you're not jumping to solutions. You're simply present with their emotional reality. When someone says they're struggling, emotionally intelligent people don't immediately counter with, "At least you have," or "You think that's bad? Let me tell you." They sit with the discomfort of someone else's pain without needing to fix, minimize, or one-up it. Thus, when next you have a conversation, focus entirely on understanding before being understood. Reflect on what you heard. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed because you're carrying too much alone. Watch how the entire dynamic shifts. People don't remember your advice. They remember how you made them feel heard.
Number 10. Accept that you can't control others' emotions, only your responses. This is the one that trips people up the most. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotional reactions. I know this might sound counterintuitive, but I'll still say it out loud. If you're constantly living your life trying to prevent someone from getting upset, you're not being emotionally intelligent, you're being controlled. There's a difference between being considerate and being a hostage to someone else's volatility. For instance, if your friend gets mad because you can't attend their event, you can be empathetic without taking responsibility for their disappointment. And what if your boss is in a bad mood? You can be professional without absorbing their stress as your own. The emotionally intelligent care about others' feelings without being imprisoned by them. They can hold space for someone's upset without making it their job to fix it. Could this be the missing piece you've been searching for?
the freedom to show up authentically without needing everyone's emotional approval. Number 11, integrate your shadow through shadow work. The final piece of how to be emotionally intelligent's puzzle is what's known as shadow work, the practice of integrating the disowned, repressed parts of ourselves that we tend to keep hidden from the world. According to the renowned psychologist Carl Jung, our shadow is the repository of all the qualities, beliefs, and behaviors that we've rejected or denied in ourselves. And when we fail to acknowledge and integrate these shadow aspects, they can wreak havoc in our lives, manifesting as anxiety, depression, relationship conflicts, and self-sabotaging patterns. But when we dare to shine a light on our shadow and embrace the full spectrum of our humanity, something remarkable happens. We become more whole, more authentic, and more capable of deep, meaningful connections with others. We tap into a wellspring of creativity, resilience, and inner power that was previously inaccessible. As the Jungian analyst Robert A. Johnson reminds us, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious.
Conclusion. Well, my beloved viewers, as we draw the curtain on these 11 principles, know that emotional intelligence has less to do with perfection, but more to do with progress. It's about choosing awareness over autopilot, connection over correctness, growth over ego. The ancient Stoics, modern psychologists, and neuroscientists all agree on one thing: how you manage your inner world determines the quality of your outer world. How to be emotionally intelligent really points to how to be fully human, messy, complex, and constantly evolving. In the comments below, share which principle made more sense to you. Are you struggling with past hurts? Working on the pause? Learning to name your emotions with precision? Let's learn from each other. And if this video added value to your journey, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so YouTube alerts you when we release new content. Like this video if emotional intelligence is something you're committed to developing. We're building a community of people who want to do this life thing better, together. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.